today I am going to be discussing the social construction of gender. To start this presentation, we need to discuss what gender is. Gender is the behavioral, cultural, or psychological traits typically associated with one sex, as defined by Merriam-Webster. One's gender identity can be separate from the sex that they were assigned at birth. Every person has a sense of their own gender identity and whether they identify with the sex they were assigned at birth or a different gender. Individuals can feel like a man, a woman, non-binary, or something in between. Generally, the sense of one's gender identity comes from the idea of the gender binary. The gender binary equates certain traits with masculinity or femininity. For example, dominance, anger, strength, and assertiveness are associated with masculinity, while submission, sensitivity, beauty, and meekness are associated with femininity. Men are encouraged to adhere to the traits and activities that society has deemed as masculine, and women are encouraged to do the same with femininity. Straying from these expected traits and activities can have serious social consequences due to the ingrained ideas that we have about what gender performs what tasks and actions. The gender binary has given us the idea that men and women are inherently different. Women are naturally smaller and embody feminine traits, and men are naturally larger and stronger and embody masculine traits. This is not entirely true. A meta-analysis study conducted by Ethan Zell found that for a variety of measures of 836 traits, both physical and behavioral, that 39% of possible differences were negligible to non-existent, 46% were small, 12% were medium, 2% were large, and only 1% were very large. So while there are differences in men and women, it is generally not as much of a difference as we perceive. In another analysis conducted by Jessica Choplin, an assistant professor of experimental psychology at DePaul University, where she evaluated the reciprocal relationship between biology and social influences, she concluded that biology is therefore not simply a cause but is also an effect, and social influences are deeply involved in attenuating, amplifying, and in some cases creating biological realities. With this taken together, both nature and nurture do play parts in our gender identities, but any differences that we perceive are usually exaggerated, and differences are usually small. Because of the upholding of the gender binary and the differences men and women are seen to have, there are many forms of inequality in society that affect everyone, though women are disproportionately affected. Every person's worth, in the eyes of society, is defined by how well they adhere to the gender norms that we have in place. Men are taught from a young age that being feminine is wrong, and that they must conform to emulating masculine traits, where they will be shunned by their peers and not have any power or position in society. A statement from the film The Mask You Live In sums this up. I'd ask every man to think about what age they were, what was the context, when somebody told you to be a man. That's one of the most destructive phrases in this culture, I believe. On the other hand, women are taught that their value lies in being feminine, and performing that femininity for the benefit of men is what will keep them safe. Though there is some room for women to be more masculine, as masculine traits are praised. Valerie Walkerdine, who has performed a lot of research on deconstructing harmful views about femininity, asks, how come, for many women, the powerful part of themselves has been so split off as to feel that it belongs to someone else? It is not the case that here is a passive wimp femininity, but a power which is both desired, strived after, yet almost too dangerous to be acknowledged as belonging to the woman herself. Another form of inequality is in the way that we view work. Jobs are quite often gender segregated, with those that mostly employ men being seen as more desirable. These more desirable jobs tend to pay more than those that are usually equated with women, which is what has led to the gender pay gap. In a study published in Psychology of Women Quarterly, it was found that multiple regression and resampling simulation methods produce similar estimates of the gender salary difference, $3,278 and $2,986 respectively. The difference prevailed despite controlling for rank, academic field, and years of experience. This pay gap even appears in the last topic that I would like to address. Sports is an area where women have been declared less qualified and able than men, though there is evidence that women are just as capable as men at many physical activities, and the reasons that many people point to as women being naturally inferior lies in the strict policing of how and against whom women compete. Though more and more women are starting to compete in sports, they are still underrepresented in both media and in sports leadership. As someone who exists outside of the gender binary, I just want to take a moment to talk about my experience. I'm a demigirl, so I feel both like a girl and I don't. It has taken a long time for me to come to terms with this identity due to the pressure that has come at me from every angle my whole life. I do enjoy doing girly things, but they don't define me. I want to be seen as something other than the woman that I usually present as. I know that there are so many other people out there who feel the same way that I do. Recognizing and dismantling the social construct of gender would help so many people be their truest self without all of the rules and issues that we have to fight against. I'd like to leave you with 2 questions for your consideration. What are some steps that you can personally take to start the process of deconstructing the harmful viewpoints of the gender binary? And how much of your life, or even personality, do you feel has been influenced by the gender binary? Thank you.